Well, a few more bits have turned up for the manifold. So after I finished cleaning it off last week, we obviously had a few bits and pieces that were knackered on it. So the first piece was clearly the dump valve fitting on the front. So that was, again, that's 8th BSPT that end, and this is about 6mm from memory. So the hose that needs to go to my dump valve, however, is only about 4mm, or the outside of the barb on the dump valve is 5mm, and so I bought a 5mm. But it's clearly a bit too long. It's probably about as long as the other one is, but yeah, it's probably about as long as the other one is, but there's no need for it to be that long, especially, I mean, I only need about 3 barbs on this, so I'm going to shorten it down so there's only 3 barbs left, but that one screws in the front quite nicely. And obviously when I put it in, I'll add some thread seal to it, but I'm going to shorten it down to here before it goes in, because there's no need for it to be that long. It's just going to get busted off. So that's one piece that turned up that worked. My first idea, I've obviously got to block up this idle air control valve hole here. So there's 2 or 3 ways I could do it. The last one I did, I used a smaller version of the core plug, which I just sort of tapped in essentially. So I thought a slightly more permanent way of doing it would be to tap it. So I got myself a 1/4x18 MPT tap. Thankfully the handle's big enough. That's the first hurdle you end up falling over with usually, is that your tap handle's not even big enough. So I've got a fairly large tap handle that will hold that. The reason I went with that size tap is simply because the original hole is 11mm and the drill size required is 7/16 and a 1/4 MPT plug. There is a slight problem with this, obviously. When you start to tap it, obviously you're going to push that in there, but as this swings round, you're actually going to clonk against the manifold itself. So it may be a case of getting the thing started, taking the handle off, putting it back on, and then getting another. I think you can get just over half to 3/4 of a turn, which isn't exactly great, especially when you're trying to hold a manifold with one hand. I may have to get a friend to help me. An MPT taper is National Pipe Taper, and what that means is the threads aren't at parallel sides, they're actually angled. So as you tap the hole, it taps essentially sort of a conical shaped hole in there. It's pretty subtle, but it's definitely a conical shape. What you need is a bottoming tap that essentially, once you've made the majority of the hole with the first 2 taps, then you thread in the bottoming tap, which has the threads on it right to the very end, or at least maybe only one or so of the ends not threaded. So that when you actually do that, you finish off the threads in the bottom of the hole. Otherwise, you may well bottom this out in the bit that's not threaded before it actually tightens against the threads to seal. So this was already sort of expensive enough, really. I mean, that wasn't too much. That was, I don't know, 10 quid. That was like 4 or 5 quid. So I'm already 20 quid into it there, just to perhaps make a hole that I'm going to have to buy another tap to finish bottoming it out. It may well be going another way, but you live and learn, and at least I'll know for next time, kind of thing. So, but yeah, that's that. The big 16, yep, the big 16 by 1.5 plugs turned up, and that obviously fits in there lovely. I've double checked already, but you can screw it all the way in. As with on this, and as with quite a few drain plugs, if you look, I can't do too much of a close up with this, but if you look on the actual sort of shaft of this, there's quite a heavy chamfer between the flange, i.e. the rim, and the actual thread that you're trying to put in. Thankfully got quite a decent chamfer on the inside as well, but you can end up, if you're not careful, bottoming out that chamfer in there into this before you've squashed your washer to actually create the seal, because obviously it seals on the copper washer. But thankfully there's enough of a chamfer here that almost screws in completely. So when I put a washer in there or an aluminium washer in there that's a couple of mil thick, that will quite easily mash that and create the seal before that bottoms out and essentially damages this without any seal. So that is good, and that is definitely going in. That is good, and that is definitely going in. Not sure what we're doing on the back here. This has got to go because it's pointless, so I either need to block that or put something else in it. This I have a replacement for that's exactly the same that I had from a previous manifold, and that piece at the bottom there's a little bit bent. I need to check that where it's bent over, it's not leaking down the side into it, so I'm going to put some petrol in there and see if it drips through onto the inside. Depending on if that leaks or not depends on whether or not I have to get it out or block it up or do something with it. So whatever happens there dictates what fitting I put in here, because if I need to put this same fitting into this one, that's fine. If not, I'll put a blank in there. So there we are. So that's a bit of that. The other idea was this genius fifth injector, not really a fifth injector. Basically, I started thinking to myself, well, that's an 11mm hole and it's smooth down the sides, there's no threads in it. If I ever want to go back to changing it, which I doubt because some of this other stuff might be permanent, we don't know yet, what can I think of that is essentially a tube with an O-ring round it? And found some injectors knocking about that I bought for this, and I got a few spares, and sure enough this fits in. The O-ring's too big, but you can always put smaller O-rings on it. So I thought to myself, well, let's just at least try. So you put that in there. I'm not going to put an injector in it obviously, but then I started thinking and googling injector parts and fuel injection components, and sure enough what they do, you may have seen them before, is they do hats or extenders or converters or whatever you want to call them, which basically have this sized end. That's an 11mm hole, so these are 10-ish mil, and then you put the correct size O-ring on it with the right thickness. So what I'm going to do is make the part off the top, attach that to a plate, and then essentially what will happen is I'll have this piece, which will be sealed and bolted onto a plate, and then you lube that up, squeak that in there, and then bolt it on here as the original one did, and there'll be no leakage, nothing coming out, and then all I've got to do is undo 2 bolts, pop it out, and it's back to standard. And there's no way it can blow out or suck in because it's going to be bolted solid to this and bolted solid to that. So that's the way I'm looking at it the moment. It's not the cheapest way of doing it, but it's the safest way is reversible. We'll give that a whirl and see what happens, but that's basically where we're at with that at the moment. So I'll probably measure this up and measure that up, and once we make up a pattern for this, it only takes 5 minutes to measure it up. It's just going to be essentially sort of like a triangular shaped plate with 3 holes in it. That's all you've got to get right. So from that corner there to that corner there. I'll show you a little trick. I'll stick this on the stand. Well, it's obviously quite a complex shape, and it's not too difficult to measure really. I mean, measuring between the holes is quite easy, and measuring to the bottom's not too bad, but start off with the outline of it. Essentially I just like to get myself a piece of graph paper, recycling, bit of graph paper essentially, and then if you put it on the piece, you're trying to trace around that has a hard edge, you just press it over the front of it, hold it in place, and then with a dirty finger, and being as you're working in the garage, your fingers are always going to be dirty, so put that on there and then just start tracing around it essentially. And then once you've got that on there, that then gives you the outline of it, so not particularly difficult to do. And then it's always good to get something where you can at least mark the holes up. You'll end up with a pretty good representation. Start with something like that. That'll give you this. Measure up the holes. I'm going to go get my vernier caliper so I can measure up the holes. Then I'll know exactly where to put them on this. Then this gives me something to draw around, or at least I can take the measurements more easily from this than off of this, because trying to measure in fresh air is not quite as easy sometimes. So if I measure that up on the insides, it's giving me a measurement of 49 on the insides. So if we measure up one of the holes, gives me 4.9. So 49 plus 4.9 is 53.9. So I'll round that up and call it 54. And to double check it, obviously measure this one. This should be 4.9 as well, which it is. And then we'll go outsides. So that, make sure you keep this parallel, because if you're on the piss like that, it won't measure right. So outside's 58.8. Try and just get the tips in there and wiggle it about a bit, because that's how you'd measure stuff. 59 we'll call that. So 59 minus 4.9 is 54 again. So that confirms our dimension. The centres of those holes is 54 mil. So I'll probably measure the distance between the top two mounting holes and the actual idle air control valve hole. I'll probably just mark these up with a line and then a line through here parallel to it and just measure it off the piece of paper. You get the rough idea. Buy one of these and do this. That's what I find is the easiest way of doing things that are vaguely accurate. My name's Dan, this is Dan91's Garage. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode.